Hi there, welcome to day 96. We are reading Luke chapter 11 and we're reading the first half of this chapter together. As it starts out, we see the Lord's Prayer again. We saw this in Matthew as well. And one thing that we should notice is that it was written just a little differently than we saw in Matthew, not to show that these are contradictions, but that Jesus was actually talking about them at two different times. The disciples were very interested in how to pray. And notice that we don't see anything in the Bible about how to preach. Jesus was more interested in their prayer life than in how they were preaching. And so we see a similar format in terms of how to pray. This is, of course, a formula for a prayer. It does not mean this is the prayer you have to pray. There's nothing wrong with the Lord's Prayer, but I think for sure as we get into prayers that we repeat over and over again, we need to make sure that we're slowing down and really thinking about what the words say. If we are not pulling from the pattern and we're just repeating, I think we can get caught up in just some memorization and feeling like we're going through the steps instead of actually coming to God in prayer. So what we see is calling on God and saying, first of all, who He is. And so the very first part, our Father who art in heaven. And it says, hallowed be your name. Hallowed just means set apart. So your name is above every other name. And this is, of course, just a great way to start prayer where you're noting how majestic He is and how great He is. And then we see references to give us this day our daily bread. This reminds us of the story of the manna falling from heaven, where God says, I'm going to send manna, but you only take what you need for the day. And of course, some people tried to store up more, and that immediately went bad. The bread went bad, and they couldn't actually use it. And so we're not looking for a warehouse full of bread. We are looking just to have our daily needs met. So you can ask God for things in your prayer. You can thank Him for things and be thankful. And just the way that Jesus presents this prayer is to say, this is how you come to the Father, and this is how you present yourself in prayer. And then Jesus talks about the persistence of prayer. So He talks about knocking on the door at night, in the middle of the night, asking for bread. Would your friend not get up and help you? And the way the houses were designed back then, really all one family was living together, and they slept all in one spot in the house. It's a one-room house. And so if you knock on the door, probably everybody's getting up. And if you knock, maybe the first time, they won't hear you, or they ignore you. And the second time, and the third time, and the fourth time, they'll eventually get up and help you. And so He's equating this to prayer. And this is about the persistence of prayer. So coming to God over and over for a request that you have, for a need that you have, and just expressing to God that you want to draw near to Him in prayer. And the persistence of prayer is not about changing God. That's not what it's about. It's about changing us. And it's about developing our heart over time. Sometimes that changes our perspective. Sometimes that just changes our relationship with God in terms of bringing us closer to Him as we're coming to Him on a more daily basis. And then we see the story of Jesus casting out the demon from the mute man. And this is where people start criticizing Him again and saying, oh, He's casting out demons in the name of Beelzebub, which is one of Satan's references. And Jesus says, I can't be both people. Like, I can't be against Satan and working for Satan. A house divided will not stand. So basically He says, if I'm working against Him and for Him, then there's essentially a civil war. And so He is saying that I'm not working for Satan. I'm showing you that I'm stronger than he is. And isn't that great news for us as Christians, that Jesus is way bigger and better and stronger than Satan ever will be? And then it starts wrapping up this passage with, as a demon is cast out, the vessel is empty. The person is empty in terms of there's a shell for somebody else to enter. And in this case, it is way better to fill that with Jesus than to allow for another demon or demons to enter that person again, or for more evil to overtake that person as opposed to Jesus filling us. And then just one little note for the end, which is, as somebody's listening to everything Jesus is saying, they say, oh, blessed is he, blessed is the mother who bore you. And Jesus doesn't negate that and doesn't discount Mary. He just says, more blessed is those who hear the word and keep it. And so I hope that today you are more blessed, that you are hearing the word and that you can apply the word today. Spend some time in prayer and following that pattern of prayer that Jesus leads us in, and just thank him for who he is and for what he's done, and ask for those things that you need. Be persistent in prayer. Hope you have a wonderful day.